Hi, I'm Raymond Claremont, aka the Psychic Scientist, aka Satoyaki, aka Ninja Who Paints on the Stars. And I just want to come to you today and talk about something that's important to me and that I hope is also really interesting to you. So I was raised on a false idea of where everything came from, and I think you might have been too. So people don't like to use the word creator unless they're talking about some kind of mythological being that made us out of nothing. I don't think that's the case, though. That there's some kind of all-powerful thing that rules over us all that made us. I believe we came from one original ancestor that either had something like all sexes or was just asexual, or either way it could reproduce asexually. And I believe that first thing, right, the first thing that was there probably came out of an egg or something, that it passed on its genes in the same manner that you and I do, and that its children were the first things besides itself, and that they bred and made many different species, and then those species mixed and all kinds of crazy things came about, and then we have what we have now. Now we're here, and I'm here, and you're here, and we're watching this video, and this is all the result of the things that the Creator brought into being. Now you can't get something from nothing. Even I, who believe fully in real magic, think that you can't just materialize a solid object out of nothing at all. I have a certain amount of magic I can use to make a certain amount of spells, but that's all coming from somewhere. Yes, my magic will recharge, but I have to use some of it up in order to make something or to do something. If I want something to feel pain and I want to damage it, I have to spend some of my energy to destroy it. If I want something to feel good and I want to heal it, I have to spend another portion of my energy in order to undo that damage. Everything comes at a price. I mean, think about it. Being tall and being short both have their advantages and disadvantages, right? Being able to fly has certain advantages over being able to swim and vice versa. So, why are we here? If everything's different and everybody has a different hand, right? You're dealt different cards, have a different lot in life. Why are we here? It's not fair, is it? Well, it's fairly unfair, and it's unfairly fair. See, now I'm getting a little off track, but there's... The Creator wasn't good or evil. That sort of stuff wasn't invented yet. He, she, whatever, I'll just say he was just there because he had to be. Now, if he failed in his task, what would happen to the rest of us? The first in the hierarchy, the first in the chain of command, has to be able to do their job or everything else falls apart, right? So there's that. And basically, the Creator was working with what they had. You know what I mean? We're not thinking about some kind of all-powerful guy or somebody who's had time to study magic in books and all that. There was no books. There was no one to teach the creator, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. He had to do what he had to do, and he did it. I'm sure he did it. Well, I don't know. Maybe he didn't do it to the best of his ability. But I'm sure he did it well enough to make all this, right? And then it's on us that we fucked it up. People already fucked it up before I got here, right? I was still coming down the pipe when people were fucking all this shit up. But now that I'm here, it's my job to try and unfuck it up, right? Yours too, if we owe anything to the creator anyway. So what am I saying? What am I really saying? We can trace it back to the creator, and we can trace it back to the first being, because we know there had to be an initial ancestor to everything. There had to be a source for things to happen. Now, given that doesn't mean that that creator or that source made everything out of nothing. Again, we all existed already, just in another form. We were in the creator, we were in our mother and father, and our mother and father were in their mothers and fathers, and so on and so on and so on and so on, all the way back to the initial creator, the first one to make something other than themselves, the first one to give life, give birth to another thing. So we owe them that at least. But how do we know if the creator wanted us to be good or bad or nice or mean? Or maybe those are just words that we believe in that the creator never would have used, right? So maybe it's not about that. Maybe the creator just wants us to create like he did. We don't really know. The creator's probably been dead for millennia, or billions of years, if it's as old as they say. So what am I really getting at, right? Why I really do this video. I got lots of things to tell you. I can tell you on and on the cyclical nature of the creator, but that's what it is. It's time. It's a cycle, right? It's one complete circle in one direction. And then when it gets right here, well, that's the end, right? But what happens after the end? It just keeps going. It starts over. So when you're asking yourself, where do we all come from? You gotta remember, this has always existed. Nothing can make something exist, and nothing can make something stop existing. You can change it, right? If you break something, it's broken, but it doesn't go away. It's still right there in pieces, right? If I take a sledgehammer to my toilet, I won't have a toilet anymore. I destroyed it. It's not a toilet now. But it doesn't stop existing, it just stops being a toilet. Now it's a bunch of shards of ceramic or glass, right? So, and if you run over a squirrel and it dies, well, you didn't make it stop existing, and you didn't even stop it making it being a squirrel, really. You just killed it. Where do they go when they die? I don't know. Probably doesn't go anywhere. Probably the ghost gets up and it's right there next to the squirrel, like, damn, I'm dead now. But the point is, you can't erase it out of reality, and you can't make something new in reality. So did the creator really create? Yes, but not in the sense of like manifesting something out of nothing. The creator made us, the creator put us in place, yes, but not in a nonsensical way that we can't explain or describe. No, so we were born, just like everyone, it's like everything, like the rocks and trees and grass, right? And the snails and the monkeys, and we're monkeys, right? All mankind is just a type of monkey. Or type of ape, I guess, or great ape. I'm not sure which type of simian or primate we qualify as. I'm not an expert on that, but I do know what I'm talking about. And here's the thing, right? Time, everything had to come from somewhere, but everything's also always existed. So it's a cycle. It doesn't stop. It's always going. That's what eternity is a cycle. It doesn't end. It has a point where the end meets the beginning, right? It goes all the way around and back. So the end happens right before the beginning, and the beginning happens right after the end. Why? Why? Because there's no other way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, let's picture it a different way. Let's picture time as a straight line. It only goes from here to here, and there's nothing else, no other time. How would that work? Well, there has to be a beginning, right? There has to be a shing. We cut off whatever happened before that. It's not there. And then this is the first thing that happened, like, God hatched from a seed, or the first tree bloomed and its seeds bared them many species or something, right? But how did it get there then? And if you say, well, God put it there and he's outside time, or he's outside the universe, or he created this timeline, great explanation, except for one thing. Where the fuck did he come from? Where did God come from? What? Had to be somewhere. So what happened before time? Okay, so we'll go into a different timeline before time. That's outside time? No, it's all time. So that time had to begin in a place, in a location, in time. There has to be a part where it said, all right, this is the beginning. We can't go back further than this. But then who set up whatever was there when it got there? No one. You can't. No, there was no one there before that to set it up. If we traced it back even before God, or even before the Creator, or whatever you want to call them, or whatever situation you want to put them in, go back before that. Whatever you think is the beginning, go before that. What was sitting there? Was God just like sitting there smoking a cigarette? Start the universe any day now. For like 6 days before the beginning? No. That doesn't make any fucking sense. There has to be a point where it all started. Where God started, where it came before God, who God's parents came from, right? If there ever was a God. So way before that, just push everything else out of the way and think, this was the first guy, first woman, first elephant, whatever it was. Something that was there before everything else. Who put them there? They would have had to just hatch out of an egg or something. Or just be like a fetus that grew. Who put that there? How did it get there? Could there have been a previous universe before this one? Okay, well, who put that there? How did that get there? When did that come from? It all goes back to the same thing. You can't get something for nothing. So the only way for this to be here now is if it was always here. We're deluding ourselves because it's changing form. We're seeing it as a beginning and an end of time. But it's not the beginning and end of reality at all. It's the beginning and end of a cycle that keeps going back to the end and then starts the beginning again. It's not something that eventually just gets hacked off and that's it, we've run out of resource. Nature doesn't work that way. Human engineering works that way right now, where if the car runs out of gas, that's it. If we don't put more gas in, the car is dead and it's done. But nature always finds a way to do the same thing it's been doing forever. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Every year consistently. Sure, if you're on a different part of the planet, you get a different balance of winter, spring, summer, fall. You might even get a different balance of night and day depending on what part of the planet you're on. But does that mean there's no cycle? Does that mean nature just stops ever? Tell me, does nature have a season of death? Right? It has cold and hot and dry and wet, but does it have death? Is there a death season? Is there an end, a finite particular point where everything just stops every time? Is there a point in the year where everything dies more frequently every single year than it does on every other year? Is there just no, there isn't. There's not necessarily a birth season either. It's almost as if the two factors of beginning and end stay out of the whole rotation. Now we're going to meet them eventually, right? Someday we'll get to that point where it's like, oh shit, everything's ending. Everything that's around is going to die and the creator's going to be born. Is that the way it'll happen the second time? I don't know. Have we been around the cycle more than once already? I don't know. Probably not. I'd say probably not, because things have been going on for a pretty freaking long time. And this doesn't look like we have previous foreknowledge of the same thing happening. Except for one thing I will say, I just watched an interesting video about Atlanteans and how some people are claiming that they have a real history and that something about they had advanced technology just like we do now, and what they had then would have been seen as a mythological, godlike thing, but it was just basically the way they did their technology, or the way they had their society, or whatever. I don't know. The video I watched didn't describe it that well, but it brings up an interesting point that maybe we have done this before, right? Maybe the Egyptians had some kind of crazy technology. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I will tell you this. We're not here for nothing, and we're not going away anytime soon. The cycle perpetuates. Even if you had to do multiverses, right? One universe, say this universe, breaks us down, but it also has the capacity to help us grow up and be stronger. Well, then there has to be an opposite universe on the opposite side of the multiverse that makes us weaker, right? Makes us weaker and builds us up instead of breaking us down. I don't know. I'm just saying, wherever we are in space, somewhere on the opposite side of space is an opposite of us. Wherever we are in time, somewhere on the opposite side of time is an opposite of this point, right? If there's a cycle, then you can be on this side of the cycle, but something else would have happened on that side, and then the opposite, right? Opposite sides of space, because time does occupy space. Time is an object. It's part of you and me. It's the first actually of 3 dimensions. And now I'm getting into my whole other theories, and we can do that in another video. But I think that pretty much covers everything for now. What I'm really trying to say is the reason that we can't seem to agree on where we all came from or what the original beginning was is because there is no thing that made us. We were always here, and there's no definitive beginning because the beginning just came after the end.